In previous videos, I've talked about locations to invest in, and of course, in the very last video, I used the map to show you 4 important locations that you can consider investing in the city of Abuja. But this time around, I thought to do something completely different. All right. This time around, I want to, using this map, show you how to know the right places to invest in, places that will be strategic. So I'm only going to be able to mention a few names, but using this map, I'll be able to guide you as it relates to how to know the right locations that you can consider to be strategic, especially as an investor. So if you're an investor, this particular video is for you, because all you have to do is, when you are in your room, you can just take Google Map and then be able to analyze locations by yourself, so that you now know locations to invest. Now, this is a little bit of what we do to determine the right locations to bring up estate development or not. All right. And that's the conversation we're going to be having today. And in the comment section of the previous video, someone accused me of always talking about locations where I have estates, and that is not correct. In fact, I have done numerous videos where I had pointed out key strategic locations to invest in, and we did not have any estates in those locations. So again, in this video, I'm not just going to point you to locations to invest in. I'm going to show you how you can use this map to be able to trace locations to invest in, while also showing you different other things to look out for. My name is Raymond Ejema, and I am the lawyer who loves real estate. I feel like the real estate entrepreneur who uses law and real estate as a tool in building wealth for myself and my client. And yes, this video is brought to you by Fortreal Rei Ltd, real estate company right here in the very city of Abuja. And as a company, we don't just show you where to invest, and we also educate so that you know how to safely and rightly invest in those locations. Let me quickly put a caveat before I proceed. Now, the caveat is very simple. FCT is a very, very key place to invest in. I mean, it's the FCT, and you must, I think it is okay to say you must consider investing in the FCT because it is the Federal Capital Territory. However, there are laws that govern the land administration in Abuja. So as I would expect that you would know, I am a lawyer, and there are laws that govern real estate in every city. And I've graciously done justice to the legal or real estate laws in Nigeria in my newest book that came out a few months ago, right? And just like there are general laws that apply to real estate in Nigeria, there are also specific laws that apply to specific jurisdictions within the FCT, within Lagos, and other regions within Nigeria, right? So you must understand that the legal part of real estate is more critical than the location where you want to buy that property. And also, there's a second book that I released as well. So if you're a realtor, maybe even a broker, or even an investor who is either selling one high ticket thing or another, then this book will help you. Now, let me proceed. So the reason I said that is to let you understand that even though investing in a location is very important, more important is the fact that you must play in line with the rules, the laws that govern that particular region. And that is the caveat I needed to put in this video. Because I can point you to certain locations, and in those locations, there would be FCDA properties, and there would or may be properties that are not FCDA properties. And at that point, the properties that are not FCDA properties will be cheaper, and you, because of your level of understanding, or people will likely go for the ones that are cheaper or more affordable, as the case may be. Whereas that would likely give issues. Not likely. As far as the law is concerned, that would give issues. It is only a question of time. Whereas the FCD properties are more sustainable, they come with peace of mind, and it's safe to say that when you invest in the right properties, you can definitely go home and, of course, be able to sleep waiting for your returns to come back. So with that said, let's go right into the conversation. So just a bit of a recap, right? This is an important road. This is the Outer Northern Expressway. This connects you to take you to the Outer Southern Expressway. This is the middle of the FCT in terms of a road. And there's supposed to be the Inner Southern Expressway here, which has not been done or completed, right? And there's also the Inner Northern Expressway, which is currently being worked on. In fact, both of them are currently being worked on, right? Now, The idea behind choosing the right location, you can start with looking at government roads and infrastructure. For example, one of the reasons why properties are very expensive in Guarimpa is because of the fact that the owners has been completed, right? And the properties anywhere around, this is Karasana, and I've mentioned how important Karasana is because Guarimpa is almost fully developed, right? Of course, with a few open spaces here and there, right? And then you have Katampe on this side. So everywhere around this place are critical locations. But if you don't have the money, right, you may not be able to invest in these locations at this point in time, right? Mpape would have been a perfect place to consider investing into. But within the last 1 year, price of properties have skyrocketed in Mpape because of government interest in Mpape. If you can still afford these locations, not a problem, right? However, on the flip side, we have the Outer Southern Expressway, which is this same road, but on the opposite side of the FCT. And that is where you have all of this is the road. It stopped here at a major point, but it's supposed to continue. They've done some of the service lane. It's supposed to continue, right? So everywhere around this area is also supposed to become very expensive as well. In my opinion, more expensive than this side. Because time is the factor that is going to drive everything. And then contemporary architecture is another thing that will drive the reason why prices on this side will be more expensive than this side in the future. The same reason why there is a major part of Guzape right here, Guzape, that is more expensive than Asokoro. Contemporary architecture, contemporary infrastructure. Now, if I go backward towards the heart of the FCT, understand that as far as these key locations are concerned, something is going to happen to everywhere around these locations. These are supposed to be locations that would be referred to as extension to. For example, you say Asokoro 2, you say Guzape 2. These are places that due to urban expansion, there's going to be an outflow into all of these locations and will drive development in those locations as well as make properties expensive in those locations. Some of these locations may have missed it because they were not planned. However, that is why, for example, you have New Cairo. You have Asokoro 2 on this side, right? Anywhere around this side, leading towards Mpape, a bit of Guarimpa extension, you have a lot of 2, in other words, extension of these major locations. If you invest in all of these locations, you will be proud. Absolutely be proud. But of course, make sure you get the right titles. And then a bit of these extensions, for example, some part of Asokoro to some part of Guzape to, as the case may be, some part of New Cairo leading towards this direction. Of course, that's outside of the FCT. Again, an extension, Kaishi is still right here, right? 28 kilometers to Aso Rock right here. So all the way from down here, there's an extension. Of course, there's a road that takes you from here, but then there's an extension coming from the OCS, which is driving this way, and then you can see Kaishi just right there. Just a few kilometers into the FCT through Apo and of course leading towards Guzape. But then Kaishi is a more refined part of these areas, which makes it a location that stands out in all of these extensions on this side. But again, pay attention to Asokoro 2. Pay attention to Guzape 2. I've always talked about Guzape 2 until now. Since I've been talking about Guzape 2, I have not found one property to recommend as Raymond Ijama in Guzape 2. And thankfully, there are FCD allocations coming out in Guzape 2 right now. But trust me, they are not coming cheap. They are coming really expensive. So an important caveat for any of these locations, make sure that you are investing in the right title. Some of them may flow into the Nasarawa part of Abuja, but don't let the word Nasarawa deceive you. What you are getting is the Abuja feel, the Abuja impact, but with the flexibility of Nasarawa as title. As a matter of fact, refusing to invest in any of these Abuja extension areas because the name Nasarawa is attached to it or the taxes from Nasarawa, it's like saying that you prefer to trek. If they give you a 2024 Toyota, you will not drive it. You prefer to trek until you can afford a 2024 Mercedes-Benz. That's exactly what you are saying, right? Consider these locations as very important. But of course, again, be sure of their titles, and of course, where the titles come from. Another thing you must look at is paying attention to old districts versus new district. I'll give you a practical example with Lokogoma. Now, in Lokogoma as a location, key location, honestly. However, this is core residential, but there is good news because new districts are being created by the Minister of the FCT. In fact, the Minister of the FCT has created a lot of districts in the last 2 years of being in the office. And there was one that was created somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. Remember, this is the OSES. And you see how it goes all through, all the way down, right? And then this is the one that takes you to Kaishi. This one right here. It says Kaishi is still here. Look at it. Are you seeing it? They're currently working on this road. Why this road is also supposed to continue or continues to Kuje, which they are also working on, which makes Kuje an important location as well. I'm going to come back to that. But before we proceed, I was talking about new district. So when you see a new district was created somewhere around here, and automatically the implication of that is it's going to be a better location than Lokogoma. So just picture what Lokogoma is and how expensive properties are in Lokogoma right now. Of course, Lokogoma has not gotten to its fullest potential, but automatically the fact that a new district was created not too far from Lokogoma, it creates a major impact, and that location is critical, which is where we got Peel. And of course, somewhere around here, you have the new African Medical Center that was just launched, and a lot of dignitaries were there, right? So just same way you have new districts around major locations, that is how new districts have come up in major parts of the FCT. Another location that I can use to explain this is the Technology Village. This is a multi-billion project, all right, by the federal government. And of course, in fact, there's a new activity or an influx of project or idea that has been added in and around the Technology Village by the new Minister of Justice, that's Wiki himself. All right. And then that makes that entire location towards Piakasa, towards Lugbe on this side. And then, of course, Lugoma is still on this side. And then makes all of this entire region very important. Don't forget that there is a connection of a ring road from Diocese all through leading towards the Ines, which makes this entire region very, very important. In fact, a new district was created behind it, and it is already super expensive to buy 1 hectare of land in that new district, and the reason is simple. It is a major location. Even though it is a new district, it is beside a major location or infrastructure by the government. And there are a whole lot of such infrastructure coming into the FCT. And then these points continue on and on. For example, I also mentioned that there is also now what is referred to as, in my opinion, I think I'm the one that started the use of that word, the new Lugbe, which is in between Kuje and runs all through before Ako, and some part of the back. So the entire back extending towards Kuje. And of course, there are FCT properties or locations also ongoing in Kuje right now. In fact, Kuje is already a very great location because of its proximity towards the heart of the FCT, because of its proximity towards the international airport, and importantly, because of its connection coming all the way from OSES. So with that road opening, leading into Kuje, cutting into Kiami, and then continuing towards the OSES that takes you into Karasana, Gwarimpa, Katampe extension, and then bringing you towards downward, Life Camp, Jabi, Jahi. It already tells you that anywhere of the extension of phase 4, phase 5 are key places to invest in and around the extension of phase 4. Let me say that again, phase 5, core extensions of the FCT on this side, some places which may flow into Nasarawa in terms of title, but generally, in terms of impact of location, they are absolutely key places to invest in. So let me take it a bit forward towards areas that have largely been ignored, which are areas after the international airport, leading to University of Abuja, and of course, leading to Gwagwalada. These are key areas, and government has not abandoned them. If you have the opportunity to invest in federal government allocated properties or approved properties in these locations, I highly recommend than you invest them. The first reason is because of the airport. The second reason is because there's another major project by government that is coming up in here. And then the third reason is the university. These are key people related projects that will drive development and, of course, drive value in properties around these locations. So, in wrapping up the conversation, how do you know where to invest in? Look out for the move of government in terms of infrastructure. Look out for the move of government in terms of new digital locations. Look out for locations that are already developed and go immediately as an investor, as a smart investor, go to locations that are extensions of those locations. Go to locations that are extensions of those locations. Again, the reason Guzape 2 is a big deal is simply because Guzape is already expensive. So Guzape 2, which is an extension of Guzape, technically must also be expensive. And the beautiful thing is that because of the growth of human activities, the likelihood of Guzape 2 being more expensive than Guzape in the future is very high. And lastly, follow the phase of development of government. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Those are key expensive locations already. Phase 4, phase 5 are still very well affordable. And of course, phase 6 will come. It doesn't look specific yet, but it will come. So if you find your way as a smart investor in these locations using these indices, I bet you will do well. And before I end the video, very importantly, as a company, as Fortreal Rei Ltd, we have estates strategically located in the FCT. And before we bought those estates, we definitely made our research. To be rest assured that when you are investing in any of our estates, you are automatically investing strategically. So if you're interested in any of them, the number to reach out to is right on your screen. My name again is Money German. I'm the lawyer who loves real estate. If you like the real estate entrepreneur who uses law and real estate as a tool in building wealth for myself and my clients. Again, I highly recommend my 2 books, all right? Understanding Real Estate Laws in Nigeria and Sell Real Estate Consistently. Do subscribe to this channel, like this video, drop a comment, and be a part of this family where we are building wealth through real estate. I'll see you on the next one.